I never imagined a weekend escape could turn into the most terrifying experience of my life. It began as something simple, an invitation. An old university friend, Leon, messaged me out of the blue. "You look like you need a break. Come spend the weekend at my family's place in the countryside. Peace, nature, good wine." I was drained. Work had consumed me for months and city noise was eating away at my nerves. I didn't think twice. I packed a bag, left early Friday morning, and drove out into the forested hills of Minas Gerais, where Leon's ancestral house waited like a ghost from another time. When I arrived, Leon greeted me with the same crooked smile I remembered from college, but something about him had changed. His eyes were darker, more distant. The house was beautiful in a way that felt almost haunted. Stone walls covered in ivy, tall windows with heavy curtains. Silence like a thick blanket. The first night was calm. We drank by the fireplace, talked about old times, nothing unusual. But at 3:14 a.m, I woke to the sound of gentle knocking, 3 soft taps, then silence. When I opened the door, Leon stood barefoot in the hallway, his face half shadowed by the flickering candlelight. His voice was low, almost ashamed. "I need your help," he said. "It's something strange. Just come with me." There was a tremble in his voice that sent chills through my spine. I should have said no. I should have closed the door and gone back to sleep. But I followed him. That was the moment everything changed. I hadn't seen Leon in nearly 5 years when I received his message. "You look exhausted in your photos. Come stay at my family's old country house this weekend. Peaceful, secluded, no cell service. Perfect to unplug. I'll handle everything." Leon had always been the spontaneous type. Back in university, he was the kind of guy who'd take a bus to a different state on a whim just to catch a sunrise. We weren't close friends, but we shared good memories. Late night philosophy debates, mutual heartbreak rants, bad instant noodles at 3 a.m. Still, his message felt out of the blue. We hadn't spoken in years. I hesitated. But he was right. I looked and felt exhausted. My job in Sao Paulo had morphed into a monster. Endless deadlines, toxic meetings, empty relationships. I needed silence, maybe even strangeness, something to break the cycle. I replied, "Sounds tempting. When?" Friday morning, I rented a car and left the choking city behind. The further I drove, the clearer the air became. Skyscrapers gave way to rolling green hills. Cell service bars flickered and vanished. After 4 hours, I arrived at the edge of a dense forest. A dirt road wound between tall trees like a tunnel. Google Maps blinked out. Only Leon's hand-drawn directions remained and a wooden sign carved with faded letters. Casarão dos Arcanjos, the Archangel's house. The house emerged like a secret, stone and shadow, nestled between towering oaks. Ivy covered the southern wall. The windows were tall, arched, and slightly fogged from within, like they were breathing. I parked the car and stepped out. The silence was thick. Then the front door creaked open. Leon stood there, barefoot, smiling. "Glad you came," he said, pulling me into a hug. He looked almost the same, tall, lean, scruffy beard, but something about his eyes had changed. They held a weight, a quiet urgency, as if he hadn't slept properly in weeks. Inside, the house smelled of wood smoke, earth, and something sweet like old perfume. The decor was a blend of antique and forgotten, velvet drapes, dusty chandeliers, faded portraits with unknowable eyes. "You're the only guest this weekend," Leon said, pouring 2 glasses of wine. "Just you, me, and the trees." We talked by the fireplace, rekindling faded memories. He laughed easily, but never asked much about my life now. Instead, he told stories about the house. How his great-grandfather built it in the 1800s, how no one in the family wanted to inherit it, how he ended up here after burning out in Rio. "It's peaceful," he said, "but it takes getting used to." I nodded, sipping the dark red wine. The fire crackled, casting shadows on the walls. That night, I fell asleep in the guest room, a soft bed, an old wooden wardrobe, windows opening to the moonlit woods. At 3:14 a.m, I woke to soft knocking, 3 taps, then silence. Leon didn't stop chanting. I wanted to run. Then the stone tiles beneath my feet warmed. I looked down. They were moving, not shifting, breathing. The floor pulsed like a living thing. The symbols glowed faintly. A deep vibration rattled the chamber, and then I heard it, a voice, not in my ears, but inside my head. One has returned. One has broken the sleep. I froze. Leon's eyes were shut tight, his voice strained. The black water strand wavered and then collapsed back into the bowl. The silence snapped back like a whip. The weight lifted. Leon fell to his knees. "It's done," he gasped. I couldn't speak. We climbed back up the stairs in silence. The house above felt heavier than before, like something had awakened deep below it. Leon stopped at the hallway outside my room. "Get some rest. We'll talk tomorrow." I shut the door. I didn't sleep, because I'd felt it. Something in that room had seen me, and it remembered. Back in the light of day, I convinced myself it had all been a hallucination, something conjured up by fatigue and wine. But Leon's expression that morning shattered that illusion. He looked older, hollow, as if the night had aged him. He made strong coffee, handed me a cup, and said nothing for several minutes. Finally, he spoke. "There's a reason I brought you here." I stayed quiet. "This house is cursed," he continued. "Generations of my family have lived and died here. The land demands payment to keep it from taking more. My grandfather made a deal. My father continued it. Now it's my turn." "A deal with what?" I asked. He hesitated. "We call it the Watcher." He opened an old drawer in the living room and pulled out a bound journal, handwritten, yellowed pages, symbols scrawled in the margins. It described rituals, offerings, and something referred to only as the Sleeping One. "I need a witness. Someone unbound by blood. The entity respects balance. That's you." I didn't want to believe it, but after what I'd seen the night before, disbelief was no longer an option. He handed me a silver medallion, engraved with the same runes from the basement floor. "Wear this. Tonight you'll help me seal the pact. If we succeed, the house stays quiet for 7 more years. And if we don't?" He looked away. "Then it awakens, and no one leaves." That night, the ceremony began again, this time deeper, darker. We descended into the earth, past the stone basement, into tunnels I hadn't seen before. Walls pulsed with warmth, the floor beneath my feet felt like skin. The Watcher was waiting. The chamber was vast, a cavern beneath the house, carved into living stone. At the center sat a pool of black water, still as glass, surrounded by statues that twisted into human shapes with animal faces. Leon knelt beside the pool. "This is where my ancestors made the first offering." He produced a dagger, silver engraved. Its blade pulsed faintly. "No blood needs to be shed," he assured me. "Just a drop. A symbolic bond." I didn't move. I couldn't. He took my hand gently, pricked my finger, and let a single drop fall into the pool. The reaction was instant. The statues groaned, the water bubbled, and a low growl rumbled from the tunnel behind us. Leon began chanting. This time, I heard voices responding, layered whispers, male and female, young and old, speaking a language I'd never heard but somehow understood. It demanded respect. Then, the water rose. It didn't splash. It climbed, like a column, defying gravity. Shapes swirled within it, faces, claws, teeth. Leon raised the medallion and the water recoiled. But then it formed into a mouth, and it spoke. "I hunger," Leon whispered back. "Not yet. 7 years more." The watermouth screamed, not sound, but vibration that cracked the stone and knocked me to my knees. Then silence. The pool collapsed, and it was over. For now. Leon turned to me, pale and shaking. "You did well. It's satisfied." But deep down I knew it wasn't. It was waiting. In the following days, I explored the house, determined to find out what else Leon had kept from me. I discovered locked rooms, diaries in hidden compartments, a map of the tunnels. One diary entry read, "If the pact ever fails, the house becomes its body, the guests become its limbs." I asked Leon. He didn't deny it. "There's a reason I don't rent this place," he said. "The last time someone did, they never left." I asked if they'd died. "No," he said. "They became part of it. Their minds were consumed. Their bodies still walk in the dark, tending to its needs." That night, I heard footsteps in the walls. I found a photo album hidden behind the fireplace. Old pictures, dozens of guests, one woman, smiling, holding a glass of wine, appeared again and again, year after year, but she never aged. "She stayed," Leon said, standing behind me. "Voluntarily." "Why?" I asked. "Some people hear the voice and want to obey it." I packed my bag. Leon didn't try to stop me, but the moment I crossed the main gate, the world shimmered. I was back inside. "It won't let you leave yet," he said. "Not until the next cycle begins." I tried again, same result. The house was a loop, a trap, time bent within it. "You need to finish the ritual," Leon said. "Only then can you go." I agreed, but I had a plan. On the 7th night, I returned to the pool. Leon began the chant. I did not join him. Instead, I stepped into the circle and shattered the medallion. The ground shook. The watcher screamed. Faces erupted from the walls. The house began to fall apart. I ran. Leon stayed behind, smiling, as if relieved. I emerged into sunlight. The house crumbled behind me, swallowed by the earth. I was free. But I hear whispers every night since. It's been 6 months. I live in a new city, a new apartment, bright, modern, clean, but I still feel it. At night, I hear things behind the walls, whispers, scratches. Sometimes I wake up and see water on the floor. Maybe the pact was broken, or maybe it followed me. All I know is this: be careful when someone asks for a strange favor at 3:14 a.m., especially in a house that feels too quiet. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed this nightmare or want to make sure you never experience something like it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode. It helps others find their way and maybe, just maybe, stay away from places like this. Until next time, lock your doors and don't answer late night knocks.